Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Grace, and I'm going to talk about my 8 most favorite finished objects of all time ever since I started crocheting. So, I've been crocheting since September of 2019, and in that time, I've created a lot of finished objects. My bad. Um, but which ones are my favorite and why? And I've definitely had my fair share of projects that have flopped or just haven't turned out the way I wanted or I haven't used how I wanted. So I wanted to go through, look at all my finished objects and see which ones are my favorite and which ones are my favorite. So I settled on my top 8 finished objects um, that are my favorite of all time. So without any particular order, let's get started. So my first finished object is a blanket, and the second one's a blanket too. So the first one is my temperature blanket of 2021. Um, so it is all done in single crochets. It's absolutely massive. I can't hold the whole thing up, but I'll show a picture of it. And it's 310 single crochets across, and it is 365 rows with 10 border rows that delineate the months that are in gray. So the yarn I used is Caron 1 pound. I used up 11 pounds of yarn because that's how much the blanket weighs. And I used, I think, 9 different colors of Caron 1 pound, and then I used one gray, which is a Bernat value yarn, to show the delineations between the month and why I love it so much. So, like I said, it's 11 pounds. It feels like a weighted blanket. It's so heavy and cozy and comforting when I wear it, and I love sleeping with it and using it that way. And my cat's scratching at the wall. Sorry. Um, I sleep with it almost every night, my temperature blanket, because I just love how cozy and weighted it is, and it doesn't have the annoying features of most weighted blankets, where it has like that sandy feel to it. Um, so yeah, that's why I love that. And especially because I don't sleep well in unfamiliar places, it's really nice and comforting when I travel to bring it with me. I took it with me when my boyfriend and I went to all the way to San Diego and back on a road trip. So that was really cool and fun to bring with me. Of course, I washed it when I got back. And it's been through the washing machine multiple times. It's a little worse for the wear, but honestly, for using it for over a year, it doesn't look as bad as I thought it would. It's acrylic yarn, so it's not terrible. I will have to make a new one eventually, though. Um, so, number 2 is another blanket. It's a Bavarian Buster blanket. That's the pattern. It's also huge. It's, hold on. Each square is 25 inches square, and it is 12 squares, so it's 3 by 4 or 75 by 100 inches long and wide. So it easily fits the queen size bed that we have with kind of an awkward overhang at the bottom because it's so long. I used all my leftover blanket yarn from my temperature blanket, so it's all Caron 1 pounds, as well as 3 different Caron 1 pounds I had in stash. That one was a full skein and 2 were mostly full, and they fit the colors and everything. So yeah, I way overbought yarn, but that's okay because I was able to make 2 huge blankets with the yarn I bought for my temperature blanket. And then why I love it so much. It is, I think, the most beautiful blanket I have ever made. I think it's absolutely stunning. I love the texture. I love the colors. I love everything about it. and it's 9 pounds heavy or light, whatever you want to say. And I made it for my boyfriend and he loves it, so that makes me like love it even more because I know that he loves it, and it just gets used a lot because it's like so big and cuddly like my temperature blanket is. So, and I have really good memories of making it because I was making it for my boyfriend. I didn't do it in secret. He knew I was making it the whole time and he helped me like pick out colors and like the order for colors because all the squares look different. And yeah, it was really cool to be able to make that for him, especially. He's definitely crochet worthy. So, item number 3 on my list is a shawl, and it is my rancher shawl. Hold on, let me find it. Here it is. It is the Rancher Shawl by Tony Lipsy, and is made with the Montana Crochet Rancher Shawl colorway, made specifically for the pattern. And so it is a 12 mini skein set, and it uses all 12 mini skeins. And why I love it so much, this one's more abstract, but I saw the pattern and I saw the colors of the pattern and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the colors and just the way it looked in the shawl. So I knew I had to buy it. So it was definitely something I knew I had to make. And I learned how to Tunisian crochet because it's a Tunisian crochet pattern because of this shawl. Because I knew I loved it and I had to make it. So I had a lot of fun making it, and I think that's one of the reasons why I love it so much because I learned how to Tunisian crochet on it. Like I didn't practice or anything. I just jumped straight into it with the shawl. And it turned out fine. The little one end is a little less tensioned. The tension's a little looser than the rest of it, but you know, that's okay. I learned. So I got my attention to look all the same throughout the rest of it. So that's cool. And I just had so much fun learning Tunisian crochet and learning to make the shawl and all the techniques that go into the shawl. It's a really well written pattern by Tony Lipsy, and I just had a blast making it. And it's such a stunning shawl, and I love wearing it, and I get a lot of compliments wearing it. So that's number 3. Number 4 is one more shawl. It is called the Kalinda Shawl, and I made it with my Melody yarn. Melody by Wool Trim is her Etsy name, and it is a June 2021 color of the month. She doesn't do colors of the month anymore, so I don't think you can buy this yarn unless you ask her to custom make it. But this is the shawl, and so that's like the front where like you can see the ridges, and then like you, yeah, sorry, that was the back, and then this is the front where you can see the ridges. There's a lot of ridges, and I just think it's gorgeous. So, the Kalinda Shawl pattern is by My Crochetatory. It's a free pattern online, and why I love it so much, it's a huge shawl. It's absolutely massive. I wear it like a top, like wrapped across me, and the colors are so fun and so vibrant, and I gravitate towards wearing it because it's so big and fun and vibrant, and I really like wearing it because like it fits me like a top, and it's just really fun to wear, and I think it looks so pretty. Like it's one of my most favorite makes I've ever made. Um, and then number 5 is called the Fairbrooks Scarf by Ashley Edmonds. It's a really simple and easy pattern, but it's really fun. It kind of looks like the Alpine stitch because it has like these ridges in it, and it's this really pretty blue yarn. It's Barocco Ultra Wool, and the color is Ocean. And the fun story behind the yarn, anyway, is my boyfriend took a motorcycle trip, and when he was on the coast of Washington, he could like look out on the coast, and there was a yarn shop, and he bought me the yarn there. And that's why it's blue, because it reminded him of the ocean. So I think that's really sweet. And that's one of the reasons why I love the scarf. So he bought me the yarn and I made myself a scarf out of it and I used all of the yarn, every single last scrap. And I just, it makes me think of him and like the fun time that he had on his trip. And then I made a scarf with it and it just reminds me of like warm and fuzzies. So that's one of the reasons I love it. And then also it's just a really warm scarf. It's warm because it's wool and it's like a nice thick stitch and I wear it all the time in the winter and it's so long I can wrap it all the way around my face when it gets super cold out when we walk our dog like at night. So it's very handy as well. And then number 6 is another scarf. It's one I made for my boyfriend and it's actually the Alpine stitch this time. Um, it's gotten a lot of wear, so it's a little worn looking, but it's just the Alpine stitch. That's the front. That's what the back of it looks like. Just a bunch of ridges. Um, yeah. So this yarn was made with Barocco Vintage Chunky in the color Sheep Thrills. I like the name of it. I think it's really fun. But I love it so much because I made it for my boyfriend and he wears it all the time in the winter. It's his favorite scarf and it's the most worn scarf that he has, even like with his like store-bought scarves. So it literally warms my heart when I see him wear it and that he just loves it so much. So I find that really fun and I'm really happy that he loves it. So, and as you can tell, it looks very worn. So, yeah. And then number 8 is behind me. It is my Esther Mandala by Alla Chakova. I think it's how you say her name. The yarn is Hobby Delilah number 11. Also, I think the color name is like Night Queen. Excuse me. Why I love it so much is because it's like hanging on my wall and I look at it and it makes me happy because it's just so pretty and it's huge. I don't know if you can tell, but it's like 24 inches in diameter. So across this 24 inches, across this 24 inches, um, and it's just big. It was really difficult to make. I learned a lot of new stitches when I learned how to make it, and at times it was frustrating, at times it was really fun, but I made it through. I made the mandala, and it's just really pretty, and that's why I like it. Simple. And then number 8 is kind of, well, not really let down, but it's not as cool as the others, but is definitely the thing I've crocheted that has gotten the most use from me, and you can tell because it looks definitely worse for the wear. I'll show a picture when I first made it, but it's a soap saver, and I put my soap in it, and I use it in the shower every day. Every time I take a shower, I just washed it, which is why it doesn't have soap in it at the moment, but it's so big, and it fits like big artisan bars of soap and it makes great suds. It's made out of cotton yarn. It's Lily Sugar and Cream in the color gray, and it doesn't look like it anywhere. It's definitely like very, yeah. So, and like it doesn't, my soap when it's in it doesn't slip around. It doesn't fall out of my hands because it slipped out of them. And I wash it like on hot in the laundry machine between soaps. So it never gets too funky and it stays really nice because it is a cotton yarn and it never smells weird and I keep it like out of like the reach of the water so it never like actually gets wet until I use it, but that is definitely my most used make of all time and I just really like it. The pattern I made up, um, I found a similar pattern by Drops Designs um, called the 198-30 Soap Saver. I'll link all the patterns down in the description box. But yeah, those are my top 8 favorite makes of all time. The ones I get the most use out of, the ones I just love and enjoy and cherish the most, and those all 8, if my house burned down or whatever, or they got stolen or lost, I would hands down make again if I needed to. Obviously, the blankets would take me a little bit, but I would definitely make them all over again if I needed to. And yeah, so thank you for joining me today. And thank you so much for watching. If you got this far, like, subscribe, and leave me a comment about what your favorite makes you've ever made are. And leave some fun patterns down. I'd love to look at the patterns that you guys absolutely adore. So thank you so much for watching. Bye!